As you guys get to know me, you'll figure out that I like going to a good swap meet and like digging up old parts and rare stuff. And this weekend at Paradise Drag Strip, I got lucky. I found a couple of good speed parts that are really rare and hard to find these days. And I'm not sure how much money I can get out of them, but I definitely got them cheap. So check them out. So when I go to a swap meet, I'm typically looking for vintage wheels, old intakes, any kind of speed parts, and just happened to see these three items laying in a guy's trailer and just had to ask. I mean, you never know. It could be cheap. It could be, that the guy thinks that it's a museum piece and it's worth $1,000, but just had to ask. So the first thing that caught my eye was this quick change rear end, and this is pretty much regulated to round track use. Sprint cars used them, other type of dirt track cars and things like that used them. This thing that makes this special is this name, which is Halibrand Engineering. They were based out of California, and the thing that really caught my eye was on the cover, the rear end cover. Not only does it say Halibrand Engineering, it also says Culver City, California, and that means that it's an early production model. It should have been sometime before 1962, somewhere around that era. So, just that alone tells me it's worth a pretty good bit of money. It's more desirable than the later castings, and there's nothing that really says Culver City on the housing, on the case itself, but I have researched and saw that the ones that were made later in Torrance, California had Torrance, California cast into it. So I haven't been able to find any of those castings, just Halibrand Engineering Company and then the 201 casting number. And this thing's been welded on and fixed and it's all seized up, but it is super cool, man. Definitely good wall hanger material, but you never know. I might try to get this thing freed up and might be able to get a few bucks out of it. Along with the deal was this CAE Racing Products in and out box, also sprint car material. It's basically those cars didn't really have a transmission. It was either go or don't go, and this little box here just connected a bell housing to the rear end. So pretty neat little piece. Also, cast aluminum. It's also frozen and in pretty bad shape, but another rare piece, complete with the shifter, which is cool. Also frozen, but all the parts and pieces are there, so if I can get it freed up and make it actually function again, that would be really great. So here's the thing, I got those three parts for $60, and anything cast aluminum, anything vintage from the 60s, it's worth $60 just hanging on the wall. So even though it's frozen up, all of it is not something you'd put in a race car. It is very valuable, very desirable for hot rod guys, especially somebody who's building a period correct 60s hot rod would pay big money for these parts. So I'm going to clean them up, try to get them freed up to where they'll turn and rotate, and put them back on the market and see what it does. I mean, from what I can tell, the rear end is probably somewhere in the neighborhood of $1,000. The cover alone is $400 to $500, even being beat up and scarred up like it is. The in and out box, it's probably $100 or $150 piece. The little shifter mechanism is probably another $50, but again, got it all for $60, and I'm super happy about it.